Still working on this. In that, I'm trying to set up a display filter. Sorry, I had someone come in, so let's get back on it. If I set up a display filter, what if I wanted to show just the interstates when I'm zoomed way out? Like right now I'm at a scale of about 1 to 20 million, and it doesn't look too bad, but it is a little bit busy, right? What if I wanted to set up a display filter so that when you zoom out beyond 1 to 20 million, you don't want the entire layer to disappear, you just want some of the features to disappear from the layer. So what I mean by that is, like, let's just say I set up a new display filter here, and I say something like, on this new filter, we add an expression that says outside of, the highway type is just the interstates, right? And we apply that. Now with this new filter selected, I can take this and I can say, 1 to 5 million right now. This is the same as a visibility range, right? But what we're doing is we're only putting a visibility range on some of the features. So I'm using a display filter to do it. And I'm going to set it to 1 to 20 million, meaning that if I zoom in just a little bit, I'm going to get all of the features, and they're set up as unique values, right? So this first filter, all of the features, I'm not worried about the scale on it. I wanted to set it up so that when you zoom out beyond 1 to 20 million, that all that gets displayed is just the interstates and the I suppose I could add the freeways in there too, but it doesn't really matter when you're way out at this scale. So what was done was there was a new display filter right here. You can enable display filters, and you can modify the visibility range of a portion of the features in a layer based on their attributes. You can use an attribute query to limit the visibility of just some of the features in a layer using attributes. It's a wonderful thing. I really enjoy learning new things and playing around with, how I can set up display. Of course, you got to remember what you've done, right? So we have a display filter set up, and when you zoom in, you get to see a modification happening on the display, which again is another way to have control over the representation of the features in your map based on scale. You zoom in a little bit more, you want to see a little bit more. You zoom out and you don't want to have to see everything because it's too busy and it doesn't look right. That's the whole goal. There it be. So, we've got the cities showing up. Cities that are greater than 500,000 are being labeled. Cities that are greater than 250,000 are being displayed, right? Can we could go further and further, but I think everybody is starting to get the idea and get the point of all of this. It's just having control over the display settings, or display, of your data, the appearance of your data. I'm going to pause this again. Right, so let's keep going. I want to push forward in this. Let's have a look at the Word doc where there's a table that tells us all about the labels and all about the display features for all of the things. So we've dealt with the roads. We're going to label the roads, right? And we want the labels to be only on highway type of interstate, and we want the labels to disappear out beyond 1 million. We can do that, right? It's not going to be on the symbology though, it's going to be on the labeling. So let's set it so that the labels disappear out beyond 1 million. No problem. Let's set the label field to be description, and let's turn the labels on. When we do that, nothing happens because we're at a scale of 1 to 8 million. When we zoom in, inside of 1 million, we've got this happening. Let's go basic. Let's reduce the size of these. And I guess we can make them a lighter color. We don't want them to take over the map, right? And when we zoom out, we don't want to see them. We only want to see them if we're zooming in, right? And we only want the interstates, or we only want, oh, I have to put a label expression on this. I only want the interstates to be labeled. So highway type is equal to interstate. Apply. What does that do? There we go. We're only getting some of the freeways and some of the interstates being labeled. And I'm fine with that. Again, we're not making the perfect map right now. We're learning about how to control the display. At this scale, the water layers that we have, total garbage. At this scale, the water layers are great, right? Because they represent the water features really well. But when you zoom in, I mean, come on, look at this. Do we really want this to be our water? Look at that. This is Coburn Island. No, not going to happen. Okay, Manitoulin Island. Okay, what is that? That doesn't even look like Manitoulin Island. It looks like, well, it kind of does actually, but you get the idea? We don't want it. At this scale, the data looks fine. Good enough. Right? This is kind of starting to look like something I would have colored in grade 3. I was interested in maps when I was in grade 3, and I'm still interested in maps. And I'm 44. All right, what's next? Lakes. Water body is the legend patch shape. Oh, dinner time. Right, okay, so here I am, I'm back. Sorry, I had to go have some supper, so where are we? Zoom in, we have a display filter that is functional. I love it. Perfect. Right, let's go back and see where we're at here on this table. Next, the lakes, the water bodies themselves, we're going to change colors, and we are going to be putting on a label expression, and we're going to be dealing, oh no, not a label expression, but we're going to be working with the label visibility. Okay, out beyond 5 million for the lakes layer. So the lakes layer right here, what we're going to do is we're going to change the color, blue-gray dust. An outline color, we'll go with a nice glacier blue. Let's update that and see what it looks like. I like it. Is that what we wanted? The fill. Oh, lakes. Oxide blue with larkspur blue. Oh, what are those colors? Why not? Let's find larkspur. Lapis lazuli, ultra, delft, oxide, Atlantic, Pacific, big sky. Where's larkspur? It's got to be in here somewhere. Maybe up here? Yogo, sodalite, sodalite, apatite, big sky. Oh my goodness, I can't find it. Atlantic, oxide. Larkspur. Really? That seems pretty dark for a fill color. Oh, oxide blue is the fill and larkspur is the outline. Okay. Larkspur is here. Oxide is up here somewhere. There it is. Let's try that. Slightly different. Not a big deal. Okie doke. Let's go back and see what's next. For the water bodies, or for the lakes, we want the legend patch to be a water body shape. 0.7 point is fine. We're going to label the lakes, and we aren't going to have the labels show up outside of 1 to 5 million. Okay. Let's turn on the labels, and then let's put in a visibility range out beyond 5 million. So if we zoom in, we've got labels. Now let's make these labels Calibri. Let's go with italic. Let's go with a nice blue color, and let's make them angled. I like it. See, there they are. As you zoom out, they're still there, but as you zoom out beyond 5, they should disappear, and they do. I like it. Let's go back. What else do we have for the lakes? Not much else. For the counties, alright, so we're going to use, well, I've got to do my legend patch shapes. So let's go and take care of that. The lakes have a legend patch shape, which is done in the primary symbology. I'm going to use water body, right? Now for the counties, let's turn them on. And let's use a legend patch shape for the counties, something like a building or boundary. Let's do that, it's different. It's not like they're representing buildings, it's just a legend patch shape, just to give it a little bit of interest in the contents pane. Right. The unique values based on state name. Oh boy, for counties and states. Okay. Right, so for states, let's go to unique values. And let's go, based on state name, let's give it a color scheme. Let's go with something like that. Let's add them all. See this little button right here? When you add them all, there we go, we got some colors happening. Let's get rid of that all other values bit. So there's the states. Let's do the same for counties. What does that do? Unique values based on state name. I think that's what I was supposed to do. State name. And let's give these guys, these polygons, we'll go with something like that. And same thing, let's remove this show all other values bit. So they're not being displayed. Why? Because the states and counties layers are both polygons, they're both opaque, they both are set up as unique values in their primary symbology, but the states are obscuring the counties because, well, of the drawing order in the contents pane, right? I can flip them on and off, we can toggle. That's what this is, where you turn it on or off. Turn it on, turn it off, right? Now let's go back and see if maybe there's a visibility range. Yes, there is. There's a visibility range set up for the states where we don't want to be seeing the states out beyond 1 to 20 million. That doesn't make sense. We want that probably to be in beyond 1 to 20 million. Which that's what it is. So for the states layer, let's just say I wanted the states to disappear at 1 to 20 million inwards. That's what we want. I'm sorry about the typo, that's my problem, I'll have to fix that. Not the labels. I suppose the labels as well, but for the appearance, we're going to go in beyond 20 million. See, now when you zoom in, you can see the counties in beyond 1 to 20 million. As you zoom out, the states appear. Now for the counties, we should do the opposite. The counties layer, we're going to have them disappear at 1 to 20 million out. That allows it to refresh faster. Right, so at 8 million we're not seeing the states, we're seeing the counties. But the counties are set up as unique values based on the state name, which means that each individual state has its own color, but it's the counties layer that's displaying the state boundaries, where every state has its own color, and all of the counties within that state, or each of the states, is displayed as all the same color based on the state name. I like it, right? You can see here's the state level, where all you can see is the states, and then as you zoom in, You see the county boundaries, but they're still being shown in such a way that every state boundary can be seen easily. I like it. Now, for labels, we want to label the counties, but we don't want the labels for the counties to be seen out beyond 1 to 5 million. That's next. So here's my counties layer. For the labels, we're going to put in a visibility range that says that don't label them, or don't show the labels out beyond 1 to 5 million. If we turn on the labels for the counties, we don't see them. Because currently, right, I'm at 1 to 8 million. Let's just say I zoom into, I don't know, somewhere in Texas. All of the counties are now labeled. Now the state labels, let's set them up so that those labels disappear in beyond, oh, I don't know, 1 to 5 million, I guess. So that's easy to do. There's the states layer, we activate it. Let's go to the labels, and in beyond 1 to, let's go 5 million here instead. So we zoom out to 8 million, and for the appearance, the counties are shown at 1 to 20. Maybe we'll, that should be okay. We could try 1 to 10. That might be a little bit more suitable, actually. And for the states labels, maybe we'll use 1 to 10 million instead. That seems to match this national scale a little bit better, the 1 to 10. So those labels, I'm going to switch the in to 1 to 10 instead. See, there's a little bit of dynamics happening here. I do apologize that, you know, I'm trying my best to make it work. At 1 to 10 million, the labels for the states, in beyond 1 to 20 million. Maybe that's going to be the way it's going to have to go. And I've got to turn these labels on so we can see them. So there's the labels for the states. Zoom in a little bit. The labels for the states disappear, but we're at a scale where labeling the counties is probably not a good idea. We could probably get away with labeling the states still, so let's switch that to 1 to 10 and see what that does. Get the state labels back. At least we should. Right here, we should still have them. Yeah, that works. As we zoom into the counties, it's not a good idea to label the counties yet because look at how small they are. Once we get in beyond 1 to 5 million, though, they show up. Well, that'll work. Let's make the labels a little bit smaller so they fit better. And then let's make the color not so strong. Or the value, actually. I like that. So on the counties, let's take the labels down a little bit, and let's gray them out a wee bit. There we go. It's a little easier to see, and it's not as contrasty, right? There's a lot that goes into this, and you can see that we're building the map to function in a way that's not, you know, outrageous looking. So there it is. Let's keep going. In this table, we're using this for the counties and states. That's fine. Now the UTM grid. This one's fun. I like this one because we're going to use unique values based on the UTM zone. We're going to use a rectangle, which is already what the symbol patch is, but unique values for this UTM zone layer is actually pretty cool. And we're going to do a definition query on it as well, where we only want to display UTM zones that exist. Right? We're not going to display UTM 0. That zone is irrelevant to our data sets. So we're going to put a definition query on it, and we're also going to make it so these UTM zones disappear inside of 1 to 10 million. Not too bad. That can be made to work. So let's take this, let's zoom out a wee bit. Where are the UTM zones? Well, if I turn them on, remember, that's this layer in the background. It's got all these labels on it and so on. Let's go with unique values. Let's give them a really cool, like super bright color scheme, like something super neat. Not FID1, let's go with zone. And then, whoa, now it's starting to look pretty cool. Now let's brighten that up again. Let's get outrageous. Let's just go for it. Let's go here. Whoa, I'm liking it. Now, what about the labels? Like, we've got a lot of labels here. That's okay. I'll just leave them as they are. I like it. Now, we were going to put an appearance visibility range on this, where the UTM zones, we're going to make them disappear at 1 to 10 million. So when you zoom into 1 to 10 million, or to a larger scale than that, they disappear, and they're gone. And as soon as you get outwards, there we go. Now we're cooking. I like it. Definition query, right? If you look at the UTM zone layer, there's all of these like weird patches in here, things that are not considered to be UTM zones. We're going to set these up. We're going to say, on the data tab of the UTM grid layer, I'm going to put in a definition query, and we want only the UTM zones to be displayed that are not equal to 0. Let's apply that. It's going to do its thing. It's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking. There we go. Look at the rainbow. Look at all these UTM zones. Pretty neat stuff. Now, the actual labels on the UTM zones are really, really kind of freaking me out a little bit, to be honest. There's too many labels. I think that maybe there's a way to reduce the number of labels. I just want to try something. On the labeling tab, you know, we can look at this and we can try to figure out a way to work with the label properties. The placement of the labels. Maybe we can play around with the placement. They're fine on the inside, but you know, what if we wanted to think about, where are we? I'm looking for conflict. There it is. Remove duplicates. There's these tabs. Like, labeling is a very complex process when you're mapping. There's so many options, because if you think about it, labels are one of the most complex things you can do in mapping. They're displaying the attributes, and you know, there's things that you can do. You can make your lake labels blue, maybe italicize them to differentiate them from terrestrial features. And I'm going to just do something simple here. I'm going to see what happens if I remove duplicate labels. What's that going to do to my data? Well, I don't know. Is that going to allow us to see the zones? No, it's not really working too good, is it? Maybe I'll go back to that. You've got to be willing to try different things until you get something that you like. So I want all my labels back. And you know what? It's okay. We can live with this. Now let's get our screen a little bit set up a little easier to see. You know what? I'm going to take my labels right off the UTM grid. Yeah, this is functional. I like this, right? We've got a nice rainbow showing all the different UTM zones. Why? Why would I do that? It has to do with the next component or the next part of this exercise, and that is, if you look at the lower 48 conterminous states, I have a hard time with that word, this meaning the ones that are part of the mainland, the main continent, you can see that we've got a UTM zone over here. I can run an explore tool to see what it is. Zone 10 right? You can flash that again. You can see zone 10 is over here on the west coast. And over here, what's this one? Zone 19. Wow. So the lower 48 states cross a whole bunch of UTM zones, and each individual UTM zone is kind of like a slice of an orange, right? Or a slice of watermelon. And when you're mapping at even larger scales than national scales, right? We're at a national scale right now, and as we zoom in, to a state like, I don't know, here's Arizona, you can see that when we zoom in here, that there are UTM zones involved, and we're not seeing the UTM zones, but they're there, right? And because of the definition query, they're not showing up anymore, and we can't actually work with them. But if we zoom out a little bit, you can see that the state of Arizona right here falls kind of inside of one UTM zone, plus a little bit of another. What's this one? We've got UTM zone 11 and UTM zone 12, and then 13, 14 moving eastward. Okay, Texas looks like it goes across at least 3. Florida goes across 2, right? And you've got the state of, what's this, Maine? Maine is found inside of 1, right? And you can see how this is working. So the next part of our exercise is going to be all about choosing a state. And the state that you choose, totally up to you. There is some data that we're going to be using in the next video, in the next exercise, that has been compiled from the U.S. Census Bureau, where we've merged a whole bunch of county-level datasets, or actual feature classes, downloaded the shapefiles, and merged all the county shapefiles together to make a single state shapefile inside of a feature dataset. So all of that data is going to be made available. I've got all the lakes, and I've got all of the linear water as well at the state level, but at the scale, which would be considered a local or a county level. And we're going to make some pretty interesting maps in this next exercise. Well, we're going to be doing some interesting things, and the goal is to work at a scale that requires UTM to be the projection, and we're going to work with some higher resolution feature class data. Okay? And, because at the national level, you can make things look nice, but as you keep zooming in, if I zoom in to this area here, this is decent, right? As I zoom in a little bit more, you can say, okay, well, there's Milwaukee and Chicago and the lakes and so on, but we're still zoomed out pretty far, right? We can do better than this, and that's the plan. Let's have a look at our Word document here. We've got all of this stuff from this table done, and next it says, with the visibility of all feature layers turned on, checked in the table of contents, maximize the United States map view window and perform a screen capture at a scale of 1 to 15 million. Or you can use the snipping tool, but still, go to 1 to 15 million and get a screenshot and put it in this box right here. Maximum height, 10 centimeters. You're going to get 5 marks for that, because all the things that were done from the table above, right, all of this stuff counts. I'll be able to look at the screenshot and see what has been done at a scale of 1 to 15 million. We should have only certain layers visible and only certain labels visible, and the representation or the appearance of the feature layers in the map view should be set up in a certain way, right? So in the map, right, if I just type 1 to 15 million, I don't have to type the 1:15 million, I just type in 15 6 zeros. It gets me out to 1 to 100, that's 150 million. I'm terrible at counting zeros. There we go. Here's 1 to 15 million. Give it a chance to get set up. I'm not worried about your table of contents. What I want to see is the United States. The national level data at a scale of 1 to 15 million should have all of the states labeled based on state name. I should be able to see the difference between interstates and all of the other types of roads. I should be able to see the lakes layer. There shouldn't be any labels on the lakes at this scale because there's lakes that are too small to be labeled. I should be able to see all of the UTM zones, and I want the screenshot to look something like this. So let's grab one and put it in the map. So I'm gonna use the snipping tool just because it's my favorite, and I'm gonna snippety snip it, put it in the map, or not put it in the map, but put it in the report. Copy that. I'm gonna put it right there. And see, what's nice is that this screenshot, because this box that was provided is the correct size, you know, your pages aren't, you know, everything is sitting nicely. So that screenshot's worth 5 marks, okay? The next one says with the visibility of all feature layers turned on, perform another screenshot, but this time choose any state that includes a polygon from the lakes layer and zoom to its extent of 1 to 15 million. No. I'm sorry, that's a typo. No. We want it to be a state level or a scale. It could be 1 to 3 million, it could be 1 to 5 million, it could be, you know, 1 to 1 million. It depends on the shape of the state and how it's oriented, you know, east, west, or north, south. And same thing, we want a screenshot of so in the next screenshot, we're going to want to see, what do I want to do? Which one do I want to use? I feel like Iowa is going to be the one. Let's go to Iowa. Is there a way of selecting Iowa and zooming to it? I shouldn't be doing this yet because we're not getting into the whole select by attribute stuff yet, but you know what? On the map tab, there's a way. On the map tab in the ribbon, there is a way of going select by attributes. As soon as I select by attributes, it's the same process, right? It's kind of like a definition query, but the result isn't going to limit what's visible. The result is just going to be an active selection, and it's going to highlight a polygon and you can zoom to it. So let's just show you that. It's not like it's imperative right now because we have another assignment that deals with this, but I'm going to say my input is going to be the states and my selection is going to be a new selection, and I'm going to load up a query. I'm going to say state name is equal to, what did I say? Ohio? Iowa? I can't remember. Let's say Ohio. It's equal to Ohio. Where are you? There you are. Let's apply that. And hit OK. Now, what's the problem? We don't see the state. What do you mean you don't see the state? It's right there. Well, it's not being labeled. And it's not even visible because we have a visibility range set up. Watch this. If I zoom out far enough that the states appear. Oh, there's Ohio over there. Oh, that was Iowa. Yeah, I'm from Canada. I should know better. Right, so Ohio's there, but look at when the visibility is limited based on scale, you have to be careful with this kind of stuff. Right, so I zoom out and it's selected. I zoom in, and the reason why you're not seeing it being selected anymore is because the visibility range limits its visibility. It's there and it is selected, but we can't see it because we've limited that. No big deal. This is Ohio right here. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, you know what? Instead of it being Ohio, we're going to go with, let's go with counties, and let's go with new selection. I'm going to clear out the old selection. That means blank it out. You don't even want to, nothing is selected now after you hit this clear button. Right? See how it goes gray? Speaking of gray, notice in the table of the contents pane that some of the layers have gray check marks and some of them don't. You know what that is? That's showing you which layers have had their visibility eliminated. Which layers are visible and which ones aren't. Right? You see that? So this UTM grid layer is grayed out, meaning it's in the map, but it can't be seen. The counties can be seen. Yeah, they're right there. I can see them. So that's another one. You know, there are questions, I believe there's a question like that on the first quiz where it's like, what does it mean when the check mark in the contents pane is gray as opposed to fully visible? It has to do with the visibility ranges. Okay. Anyways, the counties layer, I'm going to do a new selection and I'm going to say, I'm going to switch it up again. I'm going to go with Illinois. State name is equal to Illinois. Where's Illinois? I know where it is. It's right there. Look at that. They're selected. All of the counties that belong to Illinois have been selected. That was done using a select by attributes. We're going to be using select by attributes quite a bit because when you select layers in the contents pane, you can do things with those layers, right? When you select features that are in the map, well, you can do all kinds of things with them. Right? So, what if I zoom all the way out? I can't see it anymore. There's nothing selected out here. What if I want to say zoom to selected features? Look at how quickly that brings me in. It's awesome. My labels are trying to catch up with me. Right? So here is Illinois. And I am going to use Illinois as my example. Right here. It's going to be a screenshot. So let's have a look at the scale. It says here that we're supposed to choose any state that includes a polygon from the lakes layer. Oh. Yeah, Lake Michigan. I can live with that. And go to a standard scale. So what scale am I on right now? I'm going to go 1 to 3 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 to 3 million. There it is. So I'm at a nice standard scale and I can see all the roads are there. You know what? This all other values bit, let's make it a little bit thicker because we can. Let's go to 0.5. What does that do? Makes them a little easier to see. Could probably even get away with 0.7. So we can see all these roads a little cleaner. Differentiates them a little bit more from the county boundaries, right? Yeah, that's fine. All right. So I need a screenshot. What about the cities? Where are the cities? Why am I not seeing the cities? They're supposed to be visible. Can I do better? What's going on with the cities layer? So the labels, they should be there. They should be on. I know that there's got to be a city in Illinois. Yeah, Chicago is labeled, but look, it's kind of obscured, right? It's a little bit difficult to see at this scale. How are we going to handle this? Well, what if we take the city's labels and we make them a little bit bigger? Because there's fewer of them. Does that help? There's Chicago there. Yeah, see, we're still, what if we go basic offset? Does that help? No, it's still, right? So there's some work that would need to be done here, but honestly, I think the point has been proven with regards to representing data. We could make those labels work better just by modifying the placement properties, by modifying the font size, by playing around with different conflict detection components of labels. There's so much that you can do. I think we're ready to just take a screenshot and move on to the next portion of this assignment. So let's do that. Take that, copy it, put it in my Word document right here. So here's Chicago right there. Here's Illinois. It's not labeled as Illinois, but I'm okay with that because what we're seeing here is that all of the labels for all of the counties are active. We've got the roads, the interstates are a different color. We can see that there's a different style of label on Lake Michigan. We can see that the city of Chicago has been labeled. Now, each one of you are required to choose a different state. I don't want anybody to just be like, oh, I'm going to choose Illinois as well. That's not being fair to yourself. Stick your neck out. Pick a different state. And that's going to be your state that you move forward with. Right? So the example here is, I'm going to be Chicago and Illinois and so on. I could choose, another different state. I could, the other day I did Arkansas, but I would like to just, focus on this one right here and try to do something with it. Okay? What do you mean do something with it? What are we even trying to do? Well, Part C is coming up next. And in Part C, we're going to subset this data, and we're going to start working with it at a regional scale, or actually more of almost like a local scale, the state level or the regional scale. And in this next section is worth 19 marks. There's a lot to do here, right? And we've got a lot of data to play around with. We're going to create a new featured data set that has a UTM coordinate system. And we're going to import data into that UTM coordinate system. It's going to be into the feature data set that's created. We're going to create a feature data set that's just for the state, at the state level. And then we're going to try to find a whole bunch of cool data that is higher resolution, and we're going to bring it in. We're going to get some data from the Census Bureau. I've provided some data in a geodatabase, and it's going to be fun stuff. So I am going to end the video here because it's getting late and I'm tired. It's been a long day and we finished Part B, right? So things are going well, I would say. Right, so here it is. And if you really, if you're interested or if you're curious, right, on the catalog pane, I'm going to show you that I can connect to, I got to find it. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to connect onto OneDrive, and I'm going to go into the data stuff. I'm going to share out this United States thing. When I connect to the United States folder, what it's going to allow is for an external database to show up. And there's this geodatabase right here called the USA Tigerline 2021 data. And check this out. We've got a featured data set for, listen to my computer chug away. There is a featured data set for every single state. Every state in the whole of the United States. And Illinois is right here. And inside of Illinois, I've got a water and a linear water. Now these, let's see what's going on here. I'm going to go with, well, let's bring it in. Let's see what the linear and the area water looks like. It's drawing really slow. And the linear water, what does it look like? Whoa. Now we're talking. Now we're getting into some real regional localized data, right? You zoom in on it and all of a sudden you've got a lot more to work with. we're going to play around with this. First off, too many streams. I would take this linear water layer and I'd say something like, don't show me the streams unless they have a name, right? I'd say, where full name is not equal to nothing. I apply that, and that should clean up the streams a little bit, right? And so on and so forth. So lots of fun stuff can be done here. And that's the plan. That is the plan. We want to look at state level data, and we want it to mesh, and we want it to look really nice. I'm going to go with, let's go with that one. Let's thin them out a little bit. Let's see what does that do if I apply it. There we go. And then the lakes themselves. Illinois is not so much fun. There's not a lot of lakes happening there, but there's some major rivers going on. And look at the data. Look at how different it looks, right? We've got data that's, look at this weird lake. It's like the Superman symbol. What is even going on there? Does it have a name? What are we looking at here? Area water. No name. No name, no name. That's okay. Some things have names, some things don't. But the layer itself has a lot more detail than what you would get at the national scale. That's the point of this. We're going to switch over to a UTM coordinate system, and we're going to work with this data, and we're going to make maps that are higher resolution, and we're going to search for more data. I'm all about more data, right? More detail, more thorough information, and so on. I know I might not sound, this might not sound like it's your thing or like it's very exciting, but this is like very exciting for me to be able to play around with this data. And like, look at what we have. We've got every single, like, what about Florida? Right? What if I bring the Florida data sets in? What do they even look like? Let's go to the Florida one. I'm going to zoom to it. It's way down here. Oh boy. My computer might explode. Right? It's trying really hard to draw all this stuff. No problem. Isn't that cool? Like, to look at all of this stuff here. This is all water. Oh, what? Doesn't make any sense. We can put that same definition query on it. And say full name is not equal to none, so that only show me the water if it's named, right? That should clean up a few things. There we go. Yeah, it's wonderful. But all of this, like right now, the coordinate system is an issue. There's probably a conflict. What's the coordinate system here? That's what's drawing a little bit slow. What's our source? Spatial reference. Oh, we're in Web Mercator. See? When you have data that has conflicting coordinate systems, it's difficult for ArcGIS Pro to draw because it has to run all of these mathematical algorithms in the background to align the data sets. One data set might be, equal area, and another one might be equidistant. And if it's trying to put everything in the right place, and if you don't have everything set up to align without there being any kind of conflict, then yeah, ArcGIS Pro will handle that for you, but it's going to come at a cost, and the cost is that it's not going to be able to refresh as quickly. And I'm not patient enough to deal with this. So you know what? Our next video, we're going to be working in Web Mercator, because that's what this big geodatabase is in. And we are going to be working at a regional level, and everybody is to choose their own state. And everybody is going to make a feature data set and start importing data into that feature data set using UTM coordinate system that matches where the state location is. So that's going to be the trick, and we've got lots of data, and I can show you where there's tons more data, right? There it is. I'm going to end it, and I really appreciate it if you have actually taken this to the end with me. I appreciate your time, and thank you so much. Yeah, I'll turn on my camera and wave. Maybe. There it is. Right. So thank you so much, and we shall see you in class. But you may be watching here as well. So if you do watch, I love it. I'm glad that you're coming here to see, because when I'm at home, I'm in my comfort zone. I've got my own system. I've got my slippers on. I can calm down and really work through things one at a time. And yeah, it may take a long time, but if you have the time, I've got the time. Thank you.